Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Steak Saturday. Episode 9. We're going to redo 9, first of all. My apologies for last weekend. We had microphone issues or some shit.
Audio issues,
and it was crazy. But tonight's episode is brought to you by Warcock Productions.
Warcock Productions.
And sponsored by Jimmy's...
Jimmy's Banana Hammock.
Jimmy's Banana Hammock. You want the best fucking squishy tight thong in your ass? Get yourself a Jimmy's Banana Hammock. Anyway, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We would love to hear from you, first of all. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions, thoughts, or concerns, or even just to ask a question, hit us up on the YouTube page or the Facebook page.
Yeah.
Ask a question. We'll answer it in the next episode of this Steak Saturday podcast. So, anybody wants to hear our opinion on something? Probably not a good idea.
Nobody wants our opinion on anything, but we are live on YouTube. So if people want to hang out and be interactive with the podcast,
yes,
we're live there. So come to YouTube, search up Steak Saturday Podcast, and then comment live with us there.
So last week we tried to talk about relationships. We talked about Grandma Moses. We talked about a lot of people. Jay is married, everybody. Jay's a married person. I'm a single guy, and I've been dating over and over again, and we've come up with like numerous nicknames for all the women I've dated.
This is one of the fun things for me. I am married, happily
married, yes.
Lucky guy. Love my wife very much. She is gorgeous and wonderful. But
here I am.
So I get to live vicariously through Theo, And when we're talking about Theo's love life, we like to, have some nicknames for these ladies.
A little bit fun, yeah.
We're just having fun. No harm's meant by it or anything like that.
Yeah.
So they all have a name. They pretty much, if they last long enough to get talked about, they have a nickname.
They have a nickname, yeah.
So.
And the one person we didn't talk about last weekend, nobody heard this, by the way. Our audio was horrible last weekend.
Audio was messed up. We took it down.
We talked about Grandma Moses. We talked about the schizo.
The schizo?
But we didn't talk about one person. And that was the drunk.
Oh, the drunk?
The drunk.
Lindsay the drunk.
Lindsay the drunk. Well, we probably shouldn't drop her name, but yeah, that person could not stop drinking.
She was cool, though.
She was so awesome.
Cool person.
Honestly, if she would just cool her jets on the drinking.
Yeah.
It would have been perfect.
That's a bummer.
It would have been perfect.
That's a bummer.
It would have been a perfect situation.
Yeah.
I'm dating and whatnot. I'm trying to see some person and whatnot. Yada yada yada. But it always brings me back to the chronic history that I have in my life. And one of those things is movies.
Tell you what, if you guys need an obscure movie reference from the 1980s, Theo's got you.
I got you. And I feel like Hollywood just builds these characters up even to be something like somebody you would relate to, somebody you want to relate to.
Yeah.
And I think they're the worst villains of all time. To be quite honest, I gotta be honest, Jenny from Forrest Gump.
Jenny is the worst.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
She is the worst. I want to talk about Jenny. Let's talk about Jenny.
Let's jump in on this because
what's Jenny do? In the beginning of Forrest Gump, he's a boy and he's got middle legs.
Yeah.
And he calls them his magic legs.
Yeah.
And he jumps on the bus to go to school. And everybody doesn't want Mr. Magic Legs to sit with them on their school bus seat until Jenny, she's like, you can sit here if you want. She's got the southern accent. Anyway, that's how that friendship starts. Well, years later, Jenny is getting a little bit wild. She comes from a broken home.
Yes.
God bless that one.
Which
she
they-
comes from a broken home.
They give you all the necessary hints for that.
Exactly, yeah.
Tough.
And then there's Forrest. Just, I love you no matter what. He goes to war. He writes Jenny every day. And right as he's about to get out of war, he gets this big package of all his letters that he wrote to Jenny. And it says, return to sender. That's fucked up, right? Come on, Jenny, come on, Jenny.
I totally forgot about that.
Come on, Jenny.
Oh my
Jesus.
God.
You can just
No.
accept his mail? I mean, he's at war. He's living.
Wow.
Anyway.
Wow.
And then, he ends up in Washington, D.C., and he's just walking around. He ends up in this protest about the Vietnam War, and, he meets the president, like, for the third time or something. And he's at the Washington Memorial, whatever that... Is it the Washington Memorial or straight up? I think that is, yeah.
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 Whatever.
He's at the Washington Memorial. He's telling his little story, and all of a sudden, Jenny's like, Forrest! And they run to the pond.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. They do this whole hug thing in the water,
Yeah.
and everybody's excited, and they're cheering. But she's
After ignoring him for his entire tour of duty,
time, like she
bucket of
didn't
letters.
know. What's even worse is I don't think
She sees him on the
cared.
stage, and she's like, I know that guy.
Yes. She didn't care if he was alive or dead in that moment.
No.
In that moment, she was like, I know that guy. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And they spend a good time hanging out, and he's like, during that time, he was like, I wanted to be your boyfriend, and she's like, I know you did for us. Just
Yeah.
shrugged his ass off, right?
Well, that happens. That's not the insidious part.
No, it's not. This guy, this guy just went to war,
Right.
and he wants to be your boyfriend.
Right. Well, I've shrugged people off too in my time. So have you. So
Numerous times.
right.
Numerous times. I get that.
that's not the
Wait.
insidious part.
So they go part ways again. And then, he becomes a big ping pong champion. All this stuff. He's a shrimp boat captain. And then all of a sudden he's a multi-millionaire because of shrimp. And what Lieutenant Dan invested in, which was Apple. And we see that in the movie. He invested in this Apple thing, and then Bubba's wife didn't have to worry about money no more. That was kind of a thing. And he cut the grass for free because he didn't like cutting the grass. While he's cutting his own grass, who shows up? Good old Jenny. And this is 1970, late 70s, and she shows up, and she's like...
So it couldn't have been Apple, though, if it was the 70s. Apple wasn't...
Maybe it was the 80s. I don't know. I don't know when Apple was founded. But anyway, Jenny shows up, and it's almost like Jenny needs a place to crash for a bit. You know what I mean? She's like, I just need to regroup or something, and she does. She helps Forrest. She gets Forrest a pair of shoes, and they're dancing in the living room, whatever. And then Forrest, being the kind-hearted soul that Forrest is, he's like, will you marry me? And she's like, Forrest, you don't know what that means. She's like, I may not be a smart man, but I know what love is, And what happens? She sneaks into his room that night. She makes love to Forrest. And she jets out the next day.
She takes off.
What happens to Forrest? Forrest is like, I just felt like running.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, you just lost the one person that would love you.
Yep.
Took your virginity.
Yeah.
And now you're going to run across America.
Best moment of his life.
Yes.
And then gone.
Gone. And he's running across America.
She didn't leave a note.
again.
She didn't... Nothing. She was just gone.
Yeah. So he gets done running. He's living in Mobile, Alabama, at his house where his mama used to live. And it's a big house, by the way. And they're millionaires at this point. And, late 80s. Apple has turned the tide. The shrimp turn the tide, bubblegum shrimp. Million. He has no idea that he has nothing to worry about when it comes to financial shit. What happens? Go ahead. He gets a fucking letter.
Jenny hears about him. Again,
Jenny
that
really,
same
yeah.
instinct where she doesn't give a fuck about what he's going through in his life, and then she sees him on stage. And then she doesn't give a fuck about what's going on in his life, then she sees him in the newspaper. It's like anytime she sees him, you know...
It becomes worse. It becomes worse.
Yeah.
She sees him in the newspaper. She saves his newspaper clips.
Yeah.
And then she sends a letter. 6 years later, she sends a letter. Come and see me. I live in Savannah, Georgia, yada, yada, yada. Take this bus and yada, yada. And that's where we find Forrest, sitting on the bus, telling a story to strangers.
With his box of chocolates.
With his box of chocolates. And then he finds out, you just have to run down. There's 2 blocks down the road, and that's where you're at. So he runs down the road, and sure as shit, he finds Jenny's apartment. What does he find in Jenny's apartment? Jenny's got a kid.
A child.
Jenny's got a kid. And she's like, yeah, I named him after his daddy. And his name is Forrest. And he's like, he's got a name for it? No, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, this is probably one of the best scenes in the cinematic universe.
Oh, man.
I will say, when it comes to actual acting,
Yeah.
when Tom Hanks, who is playing Forrest Gump, he wants to know that his son is not like him.
Yeah. It's normal.
And that exchange was such a phenomenal thing.
Yeah.
And just in the cinematic portion of it,
that's true.
the fucked up thing is she kept that kid from him.
I know.
For 6 years. Oh my gosh.
It's the thing where
or even just 5 years.
She's just oblivious to anything outside of her own life, this is the common thing of,
So they go to the park. And then little Forrest is playing in the park, and they're sitting on a bench. And what does she tell Forrest? They got a disease. They can't figure out what it is. Well, now we know what it is. That 2025, it's AIDS. You got AIDS, and she's gonna die. So it's a death sentence at that point. And what does she do? Will you marry me, Forrest? Like, this guy's rich. He's rich. He's rich. Like, Forrest may not compute the fact that he's rich, but Jenny sure can. She knows. And she can handle the fact that he can take care of my medical bills.
Here's the thing. She knew all along that he's rich. And rather than be with the guy that loves her, that's rich, that can provide for her, loves her, it's his kid.
It's his kid.
Everything.
Yes.
Everything fits together perfectly. Instead of that, she's like, I think I could do better. So she bails. It goes out, living her life, gets a deadly disease, and still, who knows how long she's had it before she gets in contact with him. This kid's like, how old is this kid? 6 or something?
He's like 5, 6 years old. Yeah.
Fuck, bro. And then, so she's that whole time she's thinking, I can find something better than Forrest.
Up until she can't.
Up until she's like, now I'm gonna die. So I
gotta go back to Forrest.
Grasping for something to grab onto before I die.
Oh gosh.
So that my son's taken care of.
No, don't get me wrong.
Just wild.
This entire movie is probably one of the most cinematic, awesome movies in our lifetime.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
But everybody talks about Darth Vader, Jason, Freddy Krueger, whatever.
Damn.
All these villains. I gotta be honest, Jenny is the worst villain I've ever met.
I would sword fight 100 Darth Vaders before I'd face off with one Jenny in my life.
I don't want to get.
Oh my God.
I don't want to get emotionally fucked. I'd rather just get killed by Darth Vader.
Darth Vader can cut off my arms and legs, whatever.
Forrest Gump.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, so crazy. Anyway, sorry guys, we got little tangent there.
Long story short, women can be the worst villains, and
Well, I get that, but like I feel like Hollywood portrays them as the they might be the savior, they might need saving, yada yada yada. But at the same time, like they're the worst villain. Rose, Titanic. Oh my gosh!
it's like this.
Don't get me started on Rose.
Rose,
the Titanic.
Rose from Titanic.
Oh my gosh.
This is like it is like the female fantasy
Seriously,
is
the
this
thing.
kind of story.
Oh, there you. There, look at you.
What?
You just jump in the middle of our podcast right now.
Well, I was actually coming out here for something sweet to eat, but
Sweet things we got.
then you said
Pineapple
pineapple
upside
upside down cake
Yeah.
over there.
What?
it looks so mushy and gross.
It's delicious.
You could jump in here and defend Rose from Titanic if you,
You
want.
could if you want to.
Okay, what's the plot?
you
I've
want-
never seen Titanic.
What?
Oh, you're doing all right.
Oh,
all right.
yeah. Never mind.
I'm getting ridiculed on the mic. It's 3 hours long. I'm not watching it.
Super long. It's not good either.
It's not. It's not.
You're
a
not
good
missing
movie.
anything.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's one of those movies
Rumors.
you probably should watch in your lifetime. You know what
I
mean?
didn't watch it a bunch.
No, I watched it one time.
Like I remember seeing previews for
Yeah.
it, and in the previews, they were showing a lot of like the in the water footage of
Yep.
the Titanic, and then like superimposing like when the Titanic was not in the water, like.
Yep.
And so I thought it was going to have a lot of that kind of shit and be cool.
No.
It's all about this bitch.
I
Rose, man.
actually went to the theater and watched this.
Yeah, I
years
saw it.
and years ago, 1996 maybe 97 or so, I don't know.
1990s.
The 1900s essentially, and it was a good 3 hours of my life just wasted.
Yeah.
I can't get back. Honestly, you know who I felt bad for in that movie? The guy that spent all that money on that fucking diamond. Honestly, I feel bad for that. At the end, the Great Depression happened, and he put a bullet in his mouth. Was what the consensus was. If you'd have lost that fucking diamond, I
Wow.
would have the same shit. Yeah.
Is that real?
I don't know if that's real.
She took his heart of the ocean
Yep.
jewel, and the depression hit, and he took his own life.
Yep.
Because he lost his fortune. But she
Yep.
had his multi-million dollar
fucking chain in her pocket.
Not to mention
So-
her own self and her own family.
So
going
not
through the
not only
depression
is
as well.
she responsible for Jack's death.
Wow. Whoa.
Nobody dissects this movie.
She's
more
getting-
than us right now.
She's
Actually,
getting a body count.
she is getting a body count.
She's
yes.
racking up corpses in her
Hey,
path of
it's
destruction.
crazy. You know what? If you guys love Titanic and that's where your thing is, kudos. But you must understand that the real villain here is Rose. Rose is the worst. Wow. Rose, Jenny, oh my gosh. The worst. I gotta get a piece of it. We don't own the music, by the way. We're just playing random music.
Yeah, I hope you guys cannot hear the music.
Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of quiet. That's what I wanted to talk about tonight. I feel like, honestly, if you're
But,
going to watch
well,
this
you're-
later on Facebook, YouTube, comment, tell us your thoughts. I would love to hear them. Yeah,
I'd love to hear some comments.
I would love to hear some comments. Honestly.
Because you're right. Your original point here, where it's like they portray these women as the female fantasy, as somebody
Exactly.
you can relate
Yeah.
to and you feel for them.
Exactly.
But they are the worst.
They're the worst.
They're the worst.
In
people
real
the
life, that would
movie.
never go down. Like, I wish I was there with Jack at the end, at the beginning when he first met Rose and she was trying to kill herself. I'd have been like, bro,
When he meets her, she's trying to
let's
jump
go
off.
get a
the-
drink. You know what I mean? You know?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's the thing about it's
Just-
rugged. It's rugged.
Let's get a drink and talk about those French horrors for a little
Exactly.
while.
Let's
Forget
go
about
down
this
to the,
one.
Let's go down to the
Let this one
third
go.
class and have some good times. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, I don't know what time are we at right now?
We are
We probably should. I gotta be honest.
We're at 20 minutes.
We need to put like a time limit on ourselves because at some point we could
we
could really talk about Rose. We could talk about Jenny.
Yeah.
So much. And I gotta be honest. Jenny, Rose, the worst villains in the world. I would take a Freddy Krueger. I'd take my dreams. Honestly, I would take a cabin in the woods and hang out with Jason for a minute. There's so many things that I would rather do than put my love and heart into those two people.
Gosh.
And that's psychological hurt, honestly.
Yeah.
Psychological hurt. It's crazy.
Sticks with you for a long time.
Oh,
a
man.
woman just crawls right into your heart and then just shits there.
Shit's there. She's just gonna squat in your fucking corner of your mind, take a shit, and you'll be like, "Oh, I'm out. See you.
Yeah.
Love you too."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Uh-huh.
So, which brings me back to the relationship stuff. Is the drunk was just too drunk all the time, all the time. Like it was a Tuesday night,
Daily.
Yeah.
Daily.
and it was just like, oh my gosh, you're going out again. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then Grandma Moses, holy cow.
Grandma Moses.
She was such a liar.
Liar.
She was such a big liar.
Those pants were on fire.
Grandma Moses told me, Grandma Moses is a nurse in Greeley, Colorado. And she was, unfortunately, this couple that were nurses at the same hospital lost their lives. Not both of them. I think the man ended up living.
Yeah.
The wife ended up dying.
Car accident.
And she came at me and she's like, I gotta go to this celebration of life. And I'm like, cool, you do you. And then, that was it. But the next weekend, she gave me the same excuse. I gotta go to the celebration of life. And what's even worse is we saw on the television that celebration of life was supposed to happen on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Not the days that she said.
Yeah. Neither of
the days.
She used that excuse twice. Neither of those were the days. So it's like, maybe they would have a separate celebration of life of her workplace or something like that. Possible. But two of them? Plus the one that's publicly known. No, she's lying. Which is
such a lie.
That's such a Rose move to use this.
So I called her out.
Excuse, use somebody's tragic death as an excuse to cheat on your boyfriend.
Exactly.
That's exactly the kind of zero self-awareness thing that women.
You know
do.
what Rose kept doing in that movie? She kept going back to the suite. That's how they got the picture of her with the thing on. She kept going back to. She knew whatever her name was. I can't remember that guy's name that she was engaged to.
Her fiance.
She knew he was at drinking, smoking cigars with the fellas because that's what you did in first class. But she knew he was doing that, so she would go. Her and Jack would go to the room. And what did she do? I want you to paint me like your French girls. And she gets all butt naked.
Draw me like one of your French whores.
Exactly. What is that? That's for kicks? Because you've never had that in your life? Get the fuck out of here. God damn it, Rose.
Yeah.
Same way with Grandma Moses. Get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here.
Don't have to lie to me.
Be lying.
We grown. And you know what's even worse? She's older than me.
Yeah.
She is older than me.
Significantly older.
And she still has to feel like she has to be a little kid and fucking lie about stupid shit. It's hilarious. Honestly.
Some people, that's what they're into. Some people like...
At some point, you have to kind of grow out of it, no?
Some people...
Don't get me wrong. I was a shit. At my younger days, I played. I get it.
No, some people just like to sneak around.
No, wow.
You'd think she'd be better at it, by the time you're...
All her years. Shoot.
All her many, many decades of deceiving men. You'd think
with a vagina fucking neck. She's like, oh. I like you do the, She sounded like one of those who just drank too much dairy and like smoked for 20 years.
Gross.
She's like, oh, yeah, I want to make you food. Anyway. I gave her the benefit of the doubt because she was attractive to me. She was a very attractive person. She was nice, and until she wasn't nice anymore. It was weird. Anyway, if you're watching this and you're single, don't fucking lie. Be honest. Jesus Christ. And don't be like Jenny. Jenny's the worst. Next week, we're going to get into that movie called A League of Their Own. I got to be honest. At the end of that movie, Kip plows into Dottie to win the World Series. She didn't touch home base. We're going to get into that next week.
Thank God.
I know. James like, I want to live. Oh, that one. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. Every platform you have us on. Follow us. That'd be great. Awesome. It's good to see you guys. Again, episode 9 reboot, essentially.
Yes. Redo.
Hopefully everything works out well. And comment anything. Just everything we talked about. I would love to hear a comment. Message, whatever the fuck. So, love you guys. Happy Steak Saturday. Brought to you by Warcock Productions.